Doug, let's first talk about the real role of the internet and social media in spreading hate speech online.
Yeah, Jacinda Ardern, the New Zealand's prime minister, she said it herself that these attacks in Christchurch underscored what she called a horrifying new trend, a trend in which we see these giant social media platforms, the YouTubes, the Facebooks, the Twitters, and the internet in general being used to make it far easier for people loaded with white extremist ideology to spread terrorist acts, to spread violence over the internet in real time. After these attacks, the gunman in the New Zealand attacks actually said he was radicalized during travels in Europe, and he was trying to draw and attract an American audience. And he did it deliberately. Posting this act in real time live on Facebook was a way to make this a global act, not just a domestic one. He's part of making himself essentially part of a white extremist, nationalist, supremacist global collective, and drawing that. He said he was inspired by similar acts of violence in Norway, in the US, in Italy, in Sweden in recent years. And Facebook itself was hard at work in the first 24 hours after this attack, removing 1.5 million. I'm not making that number up, 1.5 million videos. And you can imagine they spread and spread and spread. YouTube also, a video a second was going up in the hours after the attack on this. Jacinda Ardern herself wrote that she herself said in the New York Times this week in an interview that she herself had unexpectedly, inadvertently been exposed to this attack. Why? Not because she went to seek it out, but because it was so viral, it was so rampant that it popped up on all of these platforms. That's what this summit today is about. How do you prevent these people from using these platforms to be able to amplify and give their terrorist actions, and they are terrorist actions, the visibility they clearly do not deserve?
But what exactly can this Christchurch call do? I mean, it's non-binding. It's really just a pledge.
Yeah, and this is where it gets both interesting and tricky at the same time in opening up a big debate. As you say, it's a call, right? It's a pledge. It's a non-binding pledge. And when you look at the measures that are drawn up in this plan as the details emerge, there's nothing about regulation, and there's nothing about enforcement. It basically is going to rely on the goodwill of both governments and the tech companies themselves to essentially self-regulate, to rein themselves in. Now, what have we seen? Some are doing a better job than others. Facebook, which has been really in the line of fire on this, in the past 24 hours has announced that it is going to crack down, ban people from live streaming who in the past have a record of posting extremist content that violates Facebook's policies. Facebook has also in recent weeks banned far-right extremist groups and individuals from the internet in countries like France and Spain, in the UK, also drawing some controversy there. Others haven't gone as far. YouTube has been accused of basically not only allowing extremist content or conspiratorial videos to go up, but also directing users who watch those videos to other videos of a similar nature. It's all a matter of coming up with the types of software to try to winnow that down. Twitter perhaps is the worst culprit in a lot of critics' minds because it has kept its platform open to what some see as too much hate speech, too much incitement to the types of possible violence. Donald Trump himself, President of the United States, posted recently, beginning of April, a tweet basically alleging or accusing a Muslim representative in Congress, Ilhan Omar, of somehow being tied to the September 11th terrorist attacks. He had zero evidence, no grounds, no reason for saying this, yet that tweet, in and of itself, because he's the president with over 50 million followers, drew hundreds of death threats to this congresswoman's account. And that just shows the power of it. And in the U.S., free speech often trumps everything. Twitter will say, well, you know, you might not like it. It might not be to your liking at all, but it's free speech, freedom of expression. People have the right to do it. This is where the debate's going to get extremely controversial and fiery. Like you said, good intentions today. Lots of pledges will be made. How far are the tech companies willing to go? Should, as Facebook's co-founder suggested this week in an opinion piece, should Facebook just be split up, dismantled? Has it become too big, too powerful?
Doug, thanks for that. France 24's Doug Herbert.